أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. I'm really sorry I had to get some stuff done before the meeting today, and hopefully you guys can catch up and go with me inshallah today as we learn about this special case of Ghunnah, how to identify Ghunnah today inshallah. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. I hope everyone is doing great today, and today inshallah, sorry we beat more than 20 minutes late today. Sorry for that, but for those of you who will be watching this lesson afterwards, after the recordings, I want everyone to watch our previous lessons. The topic we'll talk about today will entail something that we've learned in the past, and so everyone needs to be on board and learn together. Of course, before you can understand today's topic very well, you need to be more someone that have learned some basics and know what is a Ghunnah, because at this point, the topic we want to discuss today is all about Ghunnah. So when we have a Ghunnah, it's something that it's not for the beginners. It's not for beginners or someone who's just starting to learn the letters of the Quran. This topic is like an intermediate lesson that you need to learn. And so we will be having a topic specifically on, maybe the rules of Noon, Sakin, and Tanween, because really more closer to what we'll be talking today. We'll be talking about today about, Ghunnah and letters that have Ghunnah, and the letters that pronounce Ghunnah. And so it's something that we need to learn. For instance, the kids who are just beginning, or anyone who is beginning to learn to read the Quran, they struggle with Ghunnah. How do I pronounce Ghunnah? And even many adults that have learned the Quran, they still struggle to pronounce letters with Ghunnah. And so this is not because, they skipped it, or because maybe they are dumb. It's just because the way the Quran is being taught sometimes, a lot of people teach the Quran without learning. And so just the way they are taught, they don't really know and not really more aware of the rules of, oh, this is how the Ghunnah look like. Oh, that's how the Ghunnah look like. And so many people are just taught the Quran by, listening to someone, studying in front of a teacher. The teacher will be the one to read to the mouth of the students. And so the students are not taking the efforts to actually, pronounce the letters or learn the skills of reciting on their own in terms of pronouncing words and knowing the basics of why they pronounce this letter this way, or why do they have to pronounce that letter that way. And so this is something a lot of programs do not teach, which is really affecting the progress of students who are learning the Quran. And that's why you see people learning the Quran for 5 years. You would see some people learning the Quran for 10 years. You see kids who have been in Quran classes for more than 10 years. And of course, there are some other ages apart from the way the class is being taught. Maybe the child is not been attending the class often, or the student is not, coming on time to the classes, and many other reasons. But most often time, I think it's depend on the teacher, and also it depends on how the classes are being taught. You can't expect students to be 100% committed all the time, because even for adults who might be wanting to learn to read the Quran, and they say, yeah, I'm really committed, I want to learn this, I want to get this done. Yes, they will say they want to do that, but along the way, there are some things that will prevent them from not being able to achieve that goal. And that's something that a teacher needs to put in mind when having student or teaching students Quran. And this is something that we have calculated into our accelerated Quran reading program. We know the peculiarities of people learning Quran, the peculiarities of students learning the Quran. Students, even parents themselves also, they get carried away, and they are mainly sometimes, the bedrock of delays sometimes for kids to learn to read the Quran. Aside from them putting the kids to learn to read the Quran, some parents try all the efforts to get kids to learn, but sometimes maybe the approach the teacher they put them to learn with use is not really working. And so it boils down to the parent to see, okay, what can I do to help my child overcome this challenge? And so many parents just put the kids to learn, they didn't to look back and see how they're learning and what they're really learning and tracking the progress as well. And so I'll use the next 10 minutes to discuss briefly about Ghunnah. And so Ghunnah is something, it's called, let me share my screen. Right. So the special case of Ghunnah. That's really very important topic. If you guys think, you know, of the way Quran is being taught, you see that this is really important topic that needs to be taught in all Quran programs. So Ghunnah is a sound that comes from the nasal cavity. So there are 5 articulation parts of the Quran letters. So if you have been with me for a while, you've seen that we've learned different topics ranging from the makhraj, the articulation of the letters, and also the pronunciation of the letters, identifying the shapes of the letters. You would see that we've learned all this. And so that's why I said anyone that wants to learn this topic in specific today should have gone through some of our lessons that we've learned in the past. You know, we've learned about the letters, how to pronounce the sound of the letters. And so this topic is going to really hone your expertise and really make you someone that can really pronounce the letters of the Quran perfectly and also read the Quran as it should be learned. So Ghunnah is a sound that comes from the nasal cavity, right? And so it sounds like some variation can sound as but mostly it's come from what we call the khayshum. So khayshum is a region of the articulation point of the human system that pronounce those kind of sound. And so what are those letters that really pronounce those sounds? What are the letters of the Ghunnah? And so you see or it's gonna be so that's the sound that come from the nasal cavity. And so what are the letters that actually pronounce the Ghunnah sound? What are the letters? And so the letters that you see that will produce the Ghunnah, there are 2 main letters that will produce Ghunnah. There are 2 main letters that will produce Ghunnah. And so those letters, we have a meme, we have a nun, all right, and we have tanween as well. So you see that there, so tanween and meme and nun. And so in what scenario will a meme pronounce Ghunnah? So in what scenario will a nun pronounce Ghunnah? But the letters that pronounce Ghunnah or produces Ghunnah, nun, meme, and tanween. And so we need to look into this. We will have a few examples to practice. We're going to have a few examples to practice. Oh, sorry. I think my mic was not working. I'm really sorry for that. So forgot that my mic. I've not turned on my microphone. So we are going to have a few examples to practice today, inshallah. And so just to recap, maybe some of you guys have not heard me in the past recently. So we talk about the Ghunnah. So Ghunnah is a sound that comes from both the nasal cavity, and so it sounds like sound. And so the letters that are mostly pronouncing or producing Ghunnah are meme, nun, and tanween letters, tanween signs. And they are pronounced from what we call the nasal cavity. So it's a letter that's pronounced from is a nasal sound, like sound. So they're pronounced from the nasal cavity. And 2 letters are mostly those in charge of Ghunnah and the tanween as well. And so the types of Ghunnah, we have what we call the types of Ghunnah. So like Ghunnah could either be complete Ghunnah or the Ghunnah that is perfectly complete Ghunnah. And this is the case of example of meme and nun that have shadda. So when you see a nun or you see a meme that have shadda, that is the perfect, most complete state of Ghunnah. The Ghunnah is complete there. The nun is shadda or the meme is shadda. And Ghunnah in ikhfa and iqlab are complete. They're not as complete as the nun and meme shaddadataini. The incomplete Ghunnah is when you're not doing Ghunnah. So it's not that the Ghunnah is not there, but the Ghunnah is really diminished. And this is the case of izhar, maybe in izhar of nun sakin and tanween, or izhar of mim sakin. We'll learn those later on. So izhar, or when the nun is silent, when a nun is having a sukoon, that is the meaning of izhar of silent mim and nun. So we've learned about silent letters before. So that's why I said you need to be more, someone that learned something in the past with us. So silent meme and silent nun, you know what silent means. So when a nun or a meme is silent, so it's having a sukoon or it's having nothing. And so that is an incomplete Ghunnah when it's about izhar. And most incomplete Ghunnah is when you have a meme or a noon that has the fatha, kasra, dhamma, when they have haraka. So those kind of noon and meme will not be having Ghunnah whatsoever. So an example here. This is a case of the most and the perfect form of Ghunnah, right? The most and the perfect complete form of Ghunnah. And that is when you see innahu, you see here, okay, so this is, okay. So this here, this is a perfect situation of complete Ghunnah here, when you see a noon and a meme with shadda. And so when you pronounce this, you're going to pronounce this for 2 counts. So it's going to be innahu, innahu. So the noon is having a shadda, and for that reason, it's pronounced with more Ghunnah than any other thing else. That's why we said, when you see a meme and a noon with a shadda, they are the most complete form of Ghunnah. So innahu aduwwun. And so you see this, you pronounce there for 2 counts. The Ghunnah will stand for 2 counts. Innahu aduwwun mudillun mubin. So you see how the sound. So when you're pronouncing Ghunnah in the noon and the meme that has shadda, so you will have learned before in our previous lessons. So these are shadda, these symbols are called shadda. And so when you see them on the meme or a noon, they pronounce with complete Ghunnah, or the most extreme complete form of Ghunnah. And so they sound for 2 counts. Innahu aduwwun mudillun mubin. Or you see this one here. كأنها جان. Right? So the noon and the mim shaddadataini are the complete form of Ghunnah. And so the complete, which is close to mim and noon shaddadataini, is when you have you're not having a noon shadda, you're not having a mim shadda, but you're having a noon or a meme that's having maybe they're vowelless, they don't have anything, they're not having sukoon, they're just like empty. And this is in many cases when you see a noon sakin, a noon that's silent. So this one is going to al-anbiya, al-anba, sorry, al-anba. And so the meme sakin, the noon sakin here is iqlab here. We're going to learn that. Iqlab. And this one here is a meme that is silent. Baynahum bisur. And also this kind of Ghunnah here in ikhfa. Kullun kadhaba. So this one is ikhfa shafa here. So Ghunnah in cases of idgham, in cases of iqlab and ikhfa, these are a form of Ghunnah as well. Or when you see something like this. Here, this one is an izhar here. So the Ghunnah here is an incomplete Ghunnah. So when you see min, so you're not doing more of nisa sound here. You're not doing more of nisa sound here. Min khawf, or kufuwan, the nisa sound is reduced. Min hum fasiqun, right? The meme is having a sukun. So incomplete Ghunnah cases, the meme are having symbol of sukun on them, but the sound of the Ghunnah is reduced, or it's not even pronounced. But the last case of Ghunnah is when you have the meme and the noon not having any sukun, or they're not even empty. So it's either they have a kasra, or they have a fatha, or they have dhamma, they have mutaharrik, they have haraka. These are cases of non-Ghunnah. So just to recap the lesson for today, there are 3 symbols or that dictate Ghunnah, and we have a meme, noon, and tanween. These will always pronounce Ghunnah and produce Ghunnah when you recite the Quran. So a meme, a noon, and tanween. Those are the things that will produce Ghunnah. And so there are 4 types or 4 ways that you see Ghunnah, and it's mostly the complete form of Ghunnah. Like the most complete form of Ghunnah you see is in noon and meme shaddadataini. So that's the noon and the meme with shadda. And complete kind of Ghunnah you see them in ikhfa, when you're pronouncing ikhfa. A rule we're gonna learn afterwards, inshallah. But something we've done in the past is when you have a noon or a meme that have sukoon, they are silent. So this meme or this noon, they have in the sukun, they have like half second sukun mostly, and you'll see that those meme and noon, the Ghunnah there will not be pronounced. The necessary sound will not come. Or even the one that doesn't even have Ghunnah at all is when you have a meme or you know with harakat, those ones will not have any Ghunnah whatsoever. And so this is an example of Ghunnah with with shadda, a meme or a noon with shadda. And this Ghunnah will last for 2 counts on this scenario. Innahu, innahu. When you see a shadda on the noon, or you see a shadda on the meme, mudillum mubin, mudillum mubin, mudillum mubin. You see the meme has the Ghunnah, it's a stream complete form of Ghunnah, and it has that for 2 counts. Mudillum mubin, that's the meme with shadda. A meme with shadda, كأنها جان. Right, so this is the noun that has a shadda, and the complete that's close to the most complete one is when you see a noun sakin, or you see a tanween in case of izhar, in case of ikhfa and iqlab or ikhfa. Here you see this meme here, it's completely silent. It doesn't even have a sukun, and the noun here also doesn't even have a sukun either. And so these are extreme, also complete form of Ghunnah, and they will also stand for 2 counts. Al-amba. So the complete and the most complete form of Ghunnah will stand for 2 counts. The Ghunnah sound will last for 2 counts. And so also with tanween here. Kullun kadhaba. So this is a topic that we'll learn before, or we're going to learn in later on, inshallah, here as well, as we start our new curriculum. So this is called ikhfa. And so in cases of ikhfa and iqlab, you would see a Ghunnah that's complete. So the 2 counts of sound will be present then. Kullun kadhaba. So this one here, you say Kullun kadhaba, right? Kullun kadhaba. Kullun kadhaba. See? Kullun kadhaba. Kullun kadhaba. So for 2 counts. Or al-amba, right? Al-amba. Or you see this here. Baynahum bisu. So the Ghunnah counts of the complete and the most complete form of Ghunnah will stand for 2 counts. And the other one is incomplete Ghunnah. There is noun that's sakin, a meme that's silent, but they don't have one. They don't have Ghunnah. The Ghunnah is reduced. Some books we call them reduced Ghunnah or no Ghunnah at all. And so the meme is still silent. It still has the chances to get pronounced with Ghunnah because of the letters that come after them. They will not be pronounced with Ghunnah very well. So minhum fasiqun wa amanahum min. So this one is the main one. Min khawf. So you don't say min khawf. Min. So that is an incomplete Ghunnah. Min khawf. Min khawf. You don't say min khawf. Min. Or here, kufuwan. So in the case of idhar, mostly idhar, maybe idhar al-haqiqi or idhar al-shafawi, you would see all these incomplete Ghunnah situations. And the last one is when the Ghunnah will not even show up at all. When you have a meme that's having a haraka or a noun that's having haraka at the same time as well. Of course, the Ghunnah is not going to be there. This is where we're going to end the class today, inshallah. And so if you want to help yourself or you try to learn to read the Quran, and you want to be an expert reciter of the Quran, learning the Quran in a more structured curriculum, using winning strategies to help students learn to read the Quran. You can watch webinars in this Expert Quran Readers group. We've had tons of classes that we've had in the past. Take time to go over this, and mostly where you can easily get them, go to the guide session of the portal. Go to the guide session of the portal. You can have access to all past lessons that we've done in this Expert Quran Readers group. So this is what I'm doing right now today. So we had topics. So you see, we had different topics taught in the past. Today is the Ghunnah. Last week we talked about something different. and also the week before and all that. So we have all this topic being taught one by one, and so that you guys can know and will be more aware of the rules of the Tajweed. Like last week, I talked about the Hamza and the difference between Hamza and Alif, and many more topics like that we'll be talking about, inshallah. And but the best way to get access to all the resources and in a more structured way, go to the guide section of our portal, of the Expert Monitors portal, and you can have access to all past lessons and all past videos that we've talked about, the tricks or the habits or the ways to learn Quran, for adults or for kids. These are mindsets, retraining lessons which I talked about, how to learn to read the Quran, how to retain, and how to teach and all that. And so these are the Quran classes and the Tajweed classes that we had. So I'll be adding all the videos of our Tajweed and Quran lessons here. So you guys can always watch the video or back, even after the class. So we have them structured in our Expert Quran group. And if you want to help yourself and your child to learn to read the Quran, reach out to us. We do have few spots remaining for students starting this month and next month, inshallah. I'll be making a post in the Expert Quran group this week, so be on the look for that. We are looking for 5 to 10 students that will wanting to achieve Quran reading. Those who are really serious, that want to achieve the goal and stop, all this daydreaming and meandering around and learning Quran for 10 years or for 5 years. I want to help you get to the goal in 4 months, inshallah. So, reach out to us and we'll be glad to walk you through the process. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.